Make melody beats.
If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are who made the guess or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Right to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Vanko. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm a baddie, she bad, but she totally nice. Nails are blue and her toes feel like white. Det kom bli med jar, det så for my leg. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why.
What is up, party people? All right. So today's going to be fun because I don't really feel that good. I feel like crap. I feel like complete crap. And yeah, I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm hungry. All of the above. Put this out. Let me see. All right. There we go. We will see. Okay. So today's going to be fun. I want to try and have a conversation. Yeah, I'm looking at something. Okay. I want to have a conversation with Travis about his claims and his confusions. I don't know if he'll be here. I have no idea. I haven't talked to him. I could text him, but I'm not going to. Let me go ahead and bring Tex up, who I think is blind as a bat today. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, afternoon, evening, day.
Yes. So you heard, I feel like crap today. I don't know how long this is going to last.
Look at me.
Yeah, I woke up this morning and pretty much felt like someone hit me with an anvil of blah. So we're going to see how today goes. I was going to say something, but I smoked before I started.
Yeah, usually I'm very polite and I do not do this on cam, but it's one of those instances where I'm battling a sinus infection that's causing an ear infection in both ears. So
that must be great. So I'm assuming if any yelling goes on, you're not going to be happy. We'll see what happens.
Nope. And I will say this before we get into it, fellas. Sean is a lot more patient with you than I will be on that. If you start screaming over each other, I'll mute you. I don't care. Just be aware. So keep it civil.
It does make for a really crappy audio. In the middle of the conversation, the people doing it don't realize it, but when everyone listens to it, it sounds like it's just real crappy. And I am definitely guilty of it too. So. That's what I was going to do. I'm going to do this pretty early. I'm going to go ahead and put the link in the chat so you can get a panel. Why would I do that? I always click the fucking link right when I put it in there. It's so weird. I'm trying to replace it. Here we go. Okay, so here's the issue that I have with Travis that he said yesterday. So I've made this thing to bring up to Travis all the time because it is very clear to me that he either doesn't understand this or doesn't want to understand it. What? Did I already put it there?
I keep forgetting that when I type in here, I'm typing as you, so I have to bring up a completely separate
Or just put
YouTube
like
here.
just start remembering to put text every time right before you start doing it. I know, so I was like, what? Yeah, so like I said, the refraction, the miragening. Okay, here's what the problem I think Travis has. Travis doesn't understand that what he is trying to claim is a general claim for very specific atmospheric conditions, right?
Yes.
So I asked Travis a simple question yesterday, or the day before yesterday, on Tuesday, right? What day was that?
Monday.
When did I? No, it wasn't Monday. I know it
It was?
wasn't Monday.
No, it wasn't Monday. It was Tuesday. You're right. It was
Okay,
Tuesday.
there we go. So on Tuesday, we had that conversation, and I asked Travis very clearly, how does he quantify the amount of obstruction due to refraction? And
Well,
he
my
said
understanding is that he doesn't. He doesn't quantify it.
he can't. His reason for not quantifying it is literally because he doesn't have a team. Matter of fact, I want to pull up what he said because let me grab it, because there's this thing he does where he kind of goes back and forth and I asked him this very specific question. Does refraction have a vertical quality, or does it only play along the surface? And Travis will say two things. He will say, no, Sean, it's not a vertical thing. And then he'll say in the next breath that it obstructs. It can obstruct if it's not a vertical effect, right? So basically what I'm saying is if you're looking at
So what you're saying is he is confirming that the previous conversation we had about the horizon creating the optical illusion is a correct statement, essentially. He contradicted himself.
every time we have this conversation. And I know it does because he gets frustrated. And when he gets frustrated, he then tells us that he doesn't have a team. He tells us that we haven't done it. Or my favorite one is that we just don't understand what we're looking at, because he does. I want to play this because I got to find it first. I always do this. Why do I do this? I always put it in this weird file. There it goes.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So, don't worry. I haven't even started to clear my throat. Okay, so this is from the stream we did on Tuesday. And the reason I want to play this is because I want to make it clear what Travis's claims are. Because of his contradictions to himself, it's very difficult to have the conversation, period. The reason I wanted to show this first. Hang on. The reason I want to show this is because this is exactly what the whole point is driven upon. It's the same thing basically as the thumbnail that I put in there for the stream. I just want to show a fucking inferior mirage because this whole conversation is just fucking insane to me.
I think I still have my notes too from the previous couple of conversations that we've had with him.
Okay,
I do.
So this is, let me show this one real quick.
Because I don't delete shit. I keep track of
Good morning,
everything.
Blue. Good morning, Blue. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Sean. What's up, Jackson?
How's it going?
I don't know.
Just trying to unboggle this weird ass situation with Travis for the billionth time over 6 years.
Why? But
Right.
why? I mean,
I don't know. Every time he talks to me about it, and it literally it's bait, and I fucking take it every time. I don't know why I do it.
You did say you enjoy fishing.
He's happy.
surprised.
Nobody pays any attention to him. He's not harming anything. Let him go on with
Let
his
him be wrong.
delusion.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. You guys don't get it. I want to show you something.
Just over there
won't-
kicking this poor man's sandcastles at the beach. Let's see how it is.
I won't. What I will.
Welcome, Totoro.
So, okay, there's nothing I have to worry about. So I want to show you guys this real quick. So you say, just leave him alone. I can't, because me and Travis have had each other's numbers forever. So when Travis has a point to make to me, he doesn't, not only does he not, he makes an upload, tags me in it, comments on it, and then tags me again, but he also text messages me what he thinks and how he feels about, I'm not going to go too far, Travis, but yeah, it's literally just Travis. He has ways of, he baits me and I take it every time. So I'm going to talk about it. Where is that screen? There it is. Okay, so this is the only real point I wanted to make just real quick before you play that. Or what's up, Totoro? How are you doing, sir? It's been a few streams.
Hey, how's it going? Whenever there's either Travis or RTH on the stream, I'm out. It's just too stupid.
No worries. We don't have self-control, so we stay and fight. I wanted to make this clear about atmospheric conditions in miraging. They are different from each other. They are not one. When I say atmospheric conditions, I am encompassing a lot. There's a lot that is at stake at this. So when we're talking about an inferior mirage, this is a layer of turbulence that is above the ground. Let's get that out of the way. But I need Travis, if you're listening, Travis, you should listen to this real quick clearly. And everyone who has these weird ideas of how refraction works or miraging works. An inferior mirage is literally laid over the surface. It is not the obstructing quality that Travis wants to make it. There are situations where the turbulent air is high enough to obstruct, but at that same token, that's going to be some other type of atmospheric condition. When you're going to be specific, you got to understand what the criteria of what the atmosphere is doing while it's doing it. And I just want to make that very clear, because it's very frustrating when Travis is saying both things at once. All right, let me get to this. All right. It's only 3 minutes, but just to clarify what his points are.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
Okay, can you see the screen?
It's really small on my screen. I'm kind of driving right now, so I'm not going to be able to. I can generally answer your question though. Right. Go ahead.
Okay, I've basically put some lines on the cargo ship of your upload that you shared, where I concede what would be maybe on a computer screen, 1/4 of an inch from the surface of the water up would be distorted. What would quantify that much distortion to then obstruct 52 feet of ship?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. It's the same. I've made videos on this, people, and I'm not the only scientist here. Like we have to work together on this. Why? Because science isn't talking about mirages the way I'm talking about mirages. And so your question is absolutely 100% spot on the nose. Here's the difference. My interpretation of the mirage is that it is along the x-axis. It is not and does not have altitude. And that is the scientific position, that a mirage has altitude above the surface of the water. Mm-hmm. My position is that degree that you put between those two white lines, that could possibly cover 4 or 5 miles of distance, which would then have to take into consideration magnification and displacement of the foreground. There are so many things that are variables in here that I only have the way of describing them with my words and I don't have the quantification at this moment because I just don't have the time for one, the money for another, and a team to do the research with. I'm only one person. But your question is a very good question.
Okay. For what you said when you're talking about how science describes any miraging factor, if I gave you the yeah, I don't need to. You guys don't need to hear me say this twice. Yeah, that's again when Travis makes that claim that the 56 feet of boat cargo ship missing that we were talking about, and then says the reason it's obstructed is due to refraction, due to atmospheric conditions, but then say he can't quantify it because he doesn't have this big team, he then can't make the claim that their obstruction is due to it. It's an impossible claim that he cannot fucking make. And that's what I hope at some point in these conversations he realizes. I doubt it, but we'll see. Totoro, I'm happy you're here because there has been a conversation going around Flat Earth lately that has what I would call made waves. If you think I'm talking about Jaren, I'm not, even though that is really getting heated up, especially after yesterday too. There's a lot more shit going on. I will talk about that later. Is the what they call the upward vector Earth. I have
that's Dell's bullshit.
Yes, well, it's not just Dell's anymore. There is a
I mean, it's the Flat Earth Society as well. They've had this kind of position for decades now.
Yes, but there is a difference because, when I was a flat earther, this is going to sound, a lot of people hate it. Actually, everyone hated this. I believed in gravity, but I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how to explain how it worked on a flat earth. One of the ideas that was thrown at me was the Flat Earth Society. I was instantly told, I'm talking instantly, if you type Flat Earth Society in any Flat Earth chat, they will all attack because they don't trust Flat Earth Society. They think they're the globe shills, blah, blah, blah. So what Dell has done is Dell has basically said it's not Flat Earth Society. That's it. So it's very fucking weird to me that it is running around right now. I have a basic understanding of why it won't work, mainly because to give the effect of gravity, the constant measurement that we can make, the Earth would have to be going in an upward trajectory at a constant acceleration, because the acceleration is what, quote unquote, is why, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, under gravity, you're going to feel an upward acceleration in fact, yes.
Got a problem with that, though.
Yeah. I mean, there are many problems with just describing it as proper motion through space, so it's sort of a pick whichever problem you want buffet.
Well, let's start with the one that you're going to reach the speed of light within a year.
Yeah.
Oh no, yes, I mean that'd be one problem. You wouldn't actually reach the speed of light. You would just see progressively heavier distortion of the space around you. So even under constant acceleration, even under like the actual physics model, you wouldn't actually ever reach the speed of light. You would simply see heavier and heavier distortion of lengths and time dilation, effectively.
So would that mean so Earth, we would have gotten to that point in our lifetimes, just our lifetimes alone.
Very soon, yes.
So once we get to that point, when we look out into space, we would see no movement and streaks.
Oh, no, yeah, you'd see all kinds of weird shit, not just like the actual perception of what you would see space very much warped. You would see stars coming and going, and if you were looking straight up, you would see stars basically from the center of your frame be massively blue shifted and then sort of do a kind of a weird curvy way out to the edge of your vision, but they would still disappear massively redshifted to your, still in your forward field of view, so to speak, if you're flying sufficiently fast.
And this is also considering that we have this weird clear path upwards.
Yeah, that too. I mean, it would be all manner of distorted. It would be very obvious if that was actually proper motion. So I think generally, I think the flat earthers that subscribe to this kind of a notion do not subscribe to relativity.
But they would have to.
Not necessarily. I mean, there are reasons why you have to accept relativity, but flat earthers are really not generally good at holding multiple concepts in their head, so that wouldn't.
But at least they're on this right track, though.
To what?
Well, they are acknowledging gravity in all its effects when they do this.
No.
Why?
There is actually a way to distinguish this kind of proper motion from gravitational acceleration on the surface of a planet. And it's when Einstein was giving his example to where you are not able to distinguish between gravity and acceleration, what he was comparing is an observer in being essentially stationary inside of a gravitational field on a planet. But as soon as you start moving about the planet, you will start noticing distinguishable effects that will quite readily tell you whether you're on a planet or in a spaceship accelerating uniformly in one direction.
But isn't that like the elevator paradox?
Well,
not cool.
It's the equivalence. It's the equivalence principle, but it has a problem in that a constant upward acceleration is going to be uniform throughout any object, where a gravitational acceleration is not.
Yep.
Your feet feel a greater acceleration than your head does, and that's measurable.
And here's a chart typically used by engineers to estimate the gravitational acceleration, both with respect to latitude and elevation. So if you did a gravitational acceleration measurement at the base of Mount Everest and then at the top of Mount Everest, you will actually observe a very different value. And that is where the comparison between these two cases breaks down.
Yep.
So you see that line 0 there, that's elevation in kilometers. That'd be at sea level. And then if you compare Everest is about 9 kilometers up, you would measure a acceleration that is very noticeably lower.
Yes. This would be the effect of weighing less, the more altitude you gain.
Yes, exactly. And so at that point, you have to ask, okay, so are different parts of the Earth accelerating at different rates? That would mean that Earth would rip itself apart very quickly. So it cannot be uniform acceleration upward.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But what I was saying before is that if we were to look at it as I get what you're saying, but I still believe that what's happening is that they are still acknowledging the effects that gravity has. Yeah, they're actually acknowledging it, though.
Yeah, but then they'd have to acknowledge that this is an inescapable conclusion, and therefore their conclusion disagrees with experiment. Yes, on an isolated single point.
But the problem is they can. But can't they do all the experiments that I can do and get the same numbers with the same thought of that we're going upwards?
No. Like I said, just conduct the experiment at 2 places on Earth. Your postulate is the acceleration is uniform on Earth.
Okay. Just the fact that the constant rate isn't an actual number and it changes due to our sphere not being a perfect ball, it can't be uniformed. Got it.
No, it just changes. It changes with your distance away from the center of it, John.
That too, yeah.
So it's multiple. Okay, so multiple.
Yes, actually, this graph you can see. Yeah, this graph, you can see it actually has two input variables. Its latitude and elevation is going to give you a different acceleration.
Right.
So either you stay on the same latitude and go up in elevation, or you could even like stay at the same elevation, just go to a different latitude. And then what are you going to say? That the Earth accelerates less at the equator than it does at the poles. Therefore, it would have to rip itself
Oh
apart. It cannot
shit.
be.
Okay, I get it now. So
Well,
on this upward vector Earth, you weigh the same at sea level as on Mount Everest because the whole thing is uniformly going
Yep.
up.
Yep. And that's not the case for a
and that's
gravitational field.
right. That's not what we measure either. So there's a real
Ah.
problem there.
Okay, so for that to work, ooh, so damn, Witset's argument debunks that. Because yeah, so basically what Dell would have to say is that if you go at his house, upward vector reads 9.8. He would have to say at the ocean, it reads 9.8. But Witset made very clear that it is an average.
Yes.
I like
And
that.
precise measurements measure different values. In fact,
sorry, I had to get some water.
Yeah, in fact, flat earthers have no response to this. They have no way of constructing this curve from any of their theories about how gravity works.
I didn't think about that part. That's good to know.
That's why I asked last time I had, we were on a voice chat in a group with Shame the Plagiarist. I asked them to provide a force law that would estimate this curve, or estimate basically the acceleration due to gravity based upon whatever source mechanism he has is causing it. And he has basically just a hand wavy explanation of it. It's just something to do with electricity or electrostatics and density and whatever. But he has no actual equation that will give me from those sources the answer. These numbers, he cannot construct an equation to produce those. And any time I've heard a flat earther try, it ended up as a hilarious blow up. It just ends up being complete gibberish on the page.
How can it be if it's electricity, you would be weightless in a Faraday cage, right?
Yeah, that's one of the problems. That's the problem, is it's not actually a formulated idea. They don't have a coherent theory, so it's hard to make hard predictions from it, what it should do.
Well, that's not true, because you can levitate something with electricity, right? I mean, it's possible.
Yes, but think about it. Like Witset's mantra is always, it sets the bias. It sets the bias of the field or whatever. And what the hell's setting a bias mean? Well, he never really clearly articulates it, but I think he means it's something to do with setting the direction, but not the magnitude. But he never has an actual hard mathematical formulation that would tell you, okay, from this set of input variables that you can independently measure, therefore the answer should be this number. There's nothing like that. Yeah, it's all electrostatics, bro. Everything's electrostatic. It's all just word salad. Like there's nothing behind it. There's no substance. It's literally just a way to misdirect the reader.
Yeah. So how do I ask this question? So when Witset is doing this, there is no rebuttal. He sets it up so there's no rebuttal to it.
It's fundamentally poorly articulated idea. It has no substance to it.
I guess if you just took down these really simple paths that we did in 2 minutes, it'd be pretty easy to see.
And if you want to see what traveling at very near the speed of light will look like, here is an animation roughly that approximates that. And this effect, if we were actually accelerating and relativity was being accepted by the flat earther, this effect would get only worse and worse and worse. To go to like 11 minutes, 30 seconds, there you can see roughly what it will look like at very close to the speed of light.
So when we looked into space, this is what we would see.
Well,
And
you
I'm not
wouldn't see the
playing sound
lines.
for anybody.
Yeah, you wouldn't see the lines, obviously, because that's just a coordinate system to show you. But you would see spatial distortions like that, and you would see like the stars would be massively blue shifted in front of you. Then they would redshift as they went further away from your direct flight path, and they could go completely dark and redshifted out of your visible spectrum as you were passing them. And the faster you flew, the closer that redshift would go to your actual direction of flight. Like you would basically get what we call the tunnel effect. All your visible universe would get essentially like compressed into a tunnel, and all the stars would come and go essentially within your field of view. And they would do like this kind of like weird shape where they would sort of approach you from the center of vision and then disappear out to the outer rims of the tunnel.
Okay, so almost like as if like Star Trek.
It's actually worse than that. It would look like imagine if you took the whole Star Trek like the starlight effect when they're going through warp speed, but you compressed the entire 360 degrees around the ship into a narrow cone in front of you. That's what it would look like. Yeah, that. Just imagine all of that. Like imagine you took a 360 degree camera view of it and squashed it all into a narrow circle in front of you. That's what that effect would look like. And there would be massive color banding, and in fact, in your direction of travel, very near the center, the radiation wavelength will get progressively shorter and shorter to the point where in the middle of your field of vision, it would just look slowly like ultraviolet, then all the visible light would get into X-rays, and then gamma rays, and then just progressively higher and higher energy radiation.
Wait, that would mean our eyes would fucking melt.
Yes, that's one of the problems for relativistic spaceflight is that you would essentially space is mostly empty, but it is not completely empty. And by flying at extremely high velocities, you are essentially inducing extremely hard gamma radiation in front of you. Like you basically are inducing your own hard cosmic rays. So that is a fairly well-known thing that if you want to have relativistic spaceflight be possible, you would have to have some very good method of either shielding the crew or in some ways deflecting if there are any charged particles in front of you, deflecting those using some sort of electromagnetic shield, something. Because yeah, you would fry your crew. That'd be bad.
Damn. Is it Voyager? Aren't one of those ones like at an insanely high rate of speed right now? I know nowhere near speed of light. I know that.
Yes. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2 are some of the fastest ones out there, yes. And by the way, in Star Trek, because Star Trek was actually written by people who are competent, they actually knew about, like, this would be an objection to their sci-fi lore. So that's why on Star Trek's ship designs, there's usually like a big blue dish under the saucer under the saucer section. That's called the deflector dish. And the entire idea of that deflector is to take any particles that are, or any like little pieces of whatever, pebbles, or even individual particles that are in your flight path and push them out of the way. Or that, yeah, nerd pedantic alert. That's usually, like, at this point, that's the thing, is if you try and apply actual real physics to what flirts are claiming, the whole thing just falls apart. So they usually don't go anywhere near that. They don't try and make a coherent theory, if anything.
Well, I feel like they try. And I feel like they, with their understanding, can only get so far in that. And once they get there, then it's sky's the limits for what they want to say. But
well,
I do think there's effort.
I mean, it's the fourth law of Flurf, right? MC Toon's fourth law of Flurf says every attempt to Flurf explain a phenomenon contradicts a Flurf explanation of some other phenomenon, and there are no exceptions to that. So anytime they try and present an explanation, it necessarily breaks something else. And that's why I said that there's no coherent theory of anything.
Yes, that's what I've always said. That was one of the things I learned towards the end of my flat Earth. I went, wait, I can explain the sun for myself, right? I can say the sun orbits circles above me, But then the Terminator line stops working. Then this stops working. That stops working. I've always said that the reason a flat earther has an argument is because they want to stay on one topic and one topic only. And in that situation, you can kind of make something work.
Have you read Ptolemy's Almagest, his arguments about the shape of the Earth? It's just one page. I'm going to send you a copy of this. You're talking a 2,000-year-old argument that is as valid then as it is now, or this was as valid then as it is now. And the dude was really clued in. He's the guy who basically made the geocentric model that then dominated for like another 1,500 years. So he was wrong on the geocentrism part, but he was absolutely on the money when it comes to the arguments about the shape of the Earth. So I'd recommend you go and read that even right now. It's not that long, and you'll see that dude was really clued in, and he knew he would have demolished all the flat earthers.
You know what I should do? I should make TextLex read this.
You should.
Probably should.
I'm up for the challenge.
Don't worry, it's not written in Greek.
Okay, good, because I only know a few Greek symbols. All right. Hold on, let me get a sip of water. This is a lot.
Did you find your glasses yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, good.
I have no idea where I put them. I have no idea.
They will be in the last place you look.
I can't look anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see here. The Almagest, right? Book 1, Section 4, that the Earth, too, taken as a whole, is sensibly spherical. We can see, again, that the sun, moon, and other stars do not rise and set simultaneously for everyone on Earth, but do so earlier for those more towards the east, later for those towards the west. I'm going to skim this shortly. Hold on. I got to move this comment out of my way. For we find that the phenomena of eclipses, especially lunar eclipses, which take place at the same time for all observers, are nevertheless not recorded as occurring at the same hour, that is, at an equal distance from noon, by all observers. Rather, that the hour recorded by the more easterly observers is always later than that recorded by the most westerly. We find that difference in the hour. Hold on. We find that the difference in the hour are proportional to the distances between the places of observation. Hence, one can reasonably conclude that the Earth's surface is spherical because its evenly curving surface, for so it is when considered as a whole, cuts off the heavenly bodies for each set of observers in turn in a regular fashion. If the Earth's shape were any other, this would not happen, as one can see from the following arguments. If it were concave, the stars would be seen rising first by those more towards the west. If it were plane, they would rise and set simultaneously for everyone on Earth. If it were triangular or square or any other polygonal shape, by a similar argument, they would rise and set simultaneously for all those living in the same plane surface. Yet it is apparent that nothing like this takes place, nor could it be cylindrical, with the curved surface in the east-west direction, and that flat sides towards the poles of the universe, which some might suppose more plausible. This is clear from the following. For those living on the curved surface, none of the stars would be ever visible, but either all stars would rise and set for all observers, or the same stars for equal celestial distances. You went up to, okay. For an equal celestial distance from each of the poles would always be invisible for all observers. In fact, the further we travel toward the north, the more upward. What is that supposed to be?
I think that's just a badly transcribed text.
Okay. Of the southern stars disappear, and the more of the northern stars appear. Hence, it is clear that here, too, the curvature of the Earth cuts off the heavenly bodies in a regular fashion in a north-south direction and proves its sphericity of the Earth in all directions. There is the further consideration that if we sail towards mountains or elevated places from and to any direction whatever, they are observed to increase gradually in size as if rising up from the sea itself, in which they had previously been submerged. That is due to the curvature of the surface of the water.
And that's the whole argument. The rest is just scans from
Okay.
the book. So
I mean that all makes perfect fucking sense to me. That's everything that I can,
and mind
like
you,
everything I observe, right,
and
on a daily basis.
and recognize that that was written by a guy in the 2nd century before internet, before air travel, before all the modern technology. He literally just had to gather this up from other people's input or wherever he traveled. So people weren't dumb back then.
I don't think people are dumb now. I just think if you don't
I
want
mean,
to change it.
I don't think it's that people are dumb. I think it's that people are willfully ignorant so that they can be quirky.
Yeah, I suppose. Just saying that for Ptolemy to make this argument 2,000 years ago, and he was pretty much right in all the points there. Hard to argue. Just consider how sharp of an intellect he had to be to just sit there in, pre-medieval Europe, Southern Europe, and thinking about this.
See, I'm quite happy that he brought up the cylindrical concept because we had this discussion pertaining to Sean's simulation theory,
Right?
where like the only way that I can consider Sean's simulation theory to be plausible is if it's like a piecewise function being projected onto a 2D plane, but really it's a cylindrical 3D plane.
It is.
That's the only way that you can have like the asteroids type concept come into play.
In
But
fact, I like to say, hang on, I like to say this right now. If there's anybody that understands fucking 3D Blender, I need your fucking help. So I can put a rectangle Earth model onto a half cylinder so I can crush Totoro and his idea that my simulation doesn't work.
you should be really, really sweet to Yino, because I'm sure he would
I
be willing to help you with that.
he has. I have asked him and he has responded. He responded immediately to help me. Here's the problem. Yano knows Blender. So when I go, hey, Yano, I need a way to put a image on a object, it's called unwrap. What he
Mhm.
does is he sends me a link to show me how to do it. The problem is, it's fucking gibberish when the guy's telling me how to do it. You think I'm fucking kid? Look, you guys think I'm
Give
fucking
a
kidding?
man a
I'm
fish
not.
he eats for a day. Teach a
I
man to
want you guys
fish
to
he
look.
eats for a
Look, you
lifetime,
think
Sean.
look. See, you think I'm playing? So I had computer class, so I know how to do the note part. But this right here, just this, is how
All
you
right, let me
make a
look.
cylinder. I
Yeah,
figured out
add
how to
mesh,
make the
choose
fuck. Yeah.
circle.
I learned how to make the cylinder. I can't figure out how to do the unwrap part. I can't even figure out how to move my camera view around.
Let
Okay,
me
that's
see.
where we're
Let
at.
me see. I'll
That's it.
fiddle around in MATLAB for you, Sean.
Right click, Sean.
I get right click. I get right, but the problem
Yep.
is everything
Oh, that's
around
gonna
that
be a
is confusing
tedious
as fuck to
script,
me.
though. I guess I
It's
could put
very
it in a
confusing.
GUI. How would you write that? I mean, how would y'all do that on MATLAB?
What
How would
Would
sort
you
you
of
do
use a
it?
GUI
unwrap
or
do you
would you
want
just do?
to? What sort of unwrapped Earth texture do you want on your? I'm gonna call it Sean's skateboard half pipe Earth model.
Well, it's the outside of the cylinder, and then that rectangle Earth that I showed you, just laid on top, just laid on it.
Rectangle Earth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I mean, it's fairly straightforward to texture map something onto a half pipe.
the back side of the half pipe, not the inside.
Sure.
Yeah.
However many sides you want.
It's all. If I had that and I could look, it'd be so amazing. So, but that's the thing. I don't like I said again. Everything I know about computers is 1,000% self-taught, and I kind of learn on the fly, and I can do a lot, but there's a lot I can't. A lot. Yeah, because you do that tutorial, you can just send me the link, right, or the
Sure. And
something like that. I don't see. I don't have it. I know I can get like take a file, open it in Blender, and it will open that file up.
Sean, are you
Mhm.
trying to use all of this on your
No. Wait. No.
freaking streaming
No.
setup? That is
No.
look, you do you. If you want to break the computer, break the computer. But I'm just telling you that is not what it's meant for.
Okay, I just want to let you know when I do use Blender and I do play that one fucking game I've decided to start playing, I close Discord.
Okay. Okay. Good.
I will not run anything with, but see it. Okay,
Because I'll
so the
tell you,
problem
my $1,800 business laptop with a good processor, like a new gen processor with more RAM than what yours does, can barely play Helldivers. Okay, so
well, when I
you
play the
got to
game
be
I
careful.
play, when I play the game I play, it's called damn, to my tongue, World of Warplanes. I know it's
Mhm.
fucking dorky, but when I play that, the first 3
It's cute.
seconds, I can
It's real
tell
cute.
it's trying. I can tell it's trying to do like it's kind of functioning, but then after about 3-4 seconds, everything goes back to good, all good. So no, okay, for real though, I don't know what to say.
I'm just saying,
See,
err on caution.
see, mine doesn't even look like that. Mine's solid.
Well, you got to know how to do the thing.
Yeah, I know, and I don't.
So
All I know
That's
is
how
like,
he does this. He
how
makes
big
it
do you
look so easy.
how big would you
Mhm.
like your half pipe to be?
Stop calling it that.
I mean,
Well, here's the worst part. Hang on. Here's the worst part. I can't tell if you're using it as a half of a pipe or you're talking about a half pipe, like for skateboarding.
It's a Quanzu, but
whatever
Could you do
floats
like
your boat.
a
It started out as a
oh
cylinder, I can
God,
tell you that.
what would
Yes.
be a good scale?
Hey, Blue, your TV in the background. Damn, he has a really good microphone because I know he's said a few times that is in the other room. That's really
Either
fucking
that or
good.
his TV's turned all the way up. One of the two.
No, because it's happened before. He's
No,
even
yeah,
said
because he
it's like
said it's
it's
only on like 15.
yeah, and it's in the other room.
Damn,
Okay,
that's that
so that
engineering money.
you know the rectangle Earth that I showed you, Toro. Can you just
Mhm.
put that, just lay it so the equator is at the very top? Runs along that top.
Hang on, I did a thing here in Blender. Isn't having a good day. Which one's this? This one's version 4.2. Oh no, okay, we good. Material. I keep forgetting how to apply simple texture.
It's unwrap.
No, it's
Top
fine.
left.
I know what you mean. Texture properties. There we go. So what projection of Earth would you like me to apply onto it?
The rectangle one. Oh yeah, I forgot you can put all
The
this info on
rectangle
there.
one isn't a projection. You're gonna have to be a little bit
Yes,
more
it is.
specific.
That's time and
Which
date.
map? What map
There
specifically?
is a Mercator projection, which is not rectangular. There is a modified Mercator with equal latitude spacing. Maybe that's the one you mean. There are stereographic projections, which can be rectangular. Which one would you like?
I would like
Probably the second option for what he's trying to.
Yeah, probably. I'm
the
just gonna.
the Adrev. Adrev. Here, I'll spell it in the private chat.
Gall Peters, perhaps? No. No, Gall
Uh,
Peters is a little
I
bit
think I like
funky.
this one. I like this one. The agrograph.
Orthograph.
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 Well, that's very, oof. Okay. That's gonna look funky. I can tell you that for sure is nothing to do with Mercator, but
Okay,
whatever.
but okay. Here's the thing.
Mhm.
The time and date projection is what I want. So whatever that is called.
Okay. Time and date is probably, let's see. Which, where under time and date are they using that?
Wait, time and map.
I can tell you the orthograph one.
Patterson cylindrical projection.
Patterson's cylindrical
That-
would end up with a distortion.
Yeah.
With it has round corners. It's not.
Yeah, the continents are super wonky too.
Equirectangular is the one I thought you wanted, but probably not. That's sort of the
Okay,
most.
hang on. That Gale Pearson one is a real shitty one.
This is an equirectangular. That's one where the latitude and longitude line spacing is constant, not distance wise, but angle wise.
That could work. I actually.
Just be aware that it distorts lengths along the latitude lines very heavily.
How come this? I'm looking at. There's a rectangle Mercator map right here. Why can't you use that?
Well, Mercator map.
Yeah, let's use Mercator.
Okay, just be aware that the Mercator map has its issues, but whatever. We'll call it good.
Well, they're all going to have issues from what I'm looking at right now.
That's exactly there's a very good reason for that.
Okay. How about this? What if I told you to put the Mercator map on a sphere object you make? It would do the same thing, wouldn't it?
Not necessarily. Let me just do an unwrap here. And we want to go to UV mode. No, not that. I want to go here. There's a preset for going to UV editing. That's the one I wanted.
Yeah. And now you just put the picture on the left and it will show. I know how this works.
Give me a sec.
I just can't get to it.
No, don't worry. We're going to do a scale on the x-axis here. Go X. Scale X a little bit down. Basically just want to make sure that it's neatly aligned to the UV space so that there's no overhang. Close enough. Yeah, sure. Close enough.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Then we want to go back to layout. And we're going to go to material preview. On here, I will select, how did I do this? Mapping, nope. I keep forgetting how to apply materials in Blender. I don't really do much Blender, I just know some.
I have an upload that shows you how.
That's okay. Just give me a sec here. I need to just mess about with it. I hope I don't have to go into like the node editor. That's always annoying. Yeah, sure. Plus, that's adding a cube, unwrap my object. Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I got the UV edit, actually. Do I have the material applied on here? Material 1.
While he's doing that, hey, no worries. Hey, Tex, you were talking about that MATLAB. What is it, MATLAB?
MATLAB.
Is that like Blender?
No. It's the way that I explain it to people is it's like if Python and Visual Basic had a baby.
Angry baby.
MATLAB. A very angry baby.
MATLAB is an engineering system.
So you would have to you would literally have to code in all this.
I would have to code it in, yes.
So Blender is easier. Than MATLAB.
Okay. But MATLAB is better.
Well, MATLAB it has a fundamentally different function.
Okay.
Shader editor. There we go.
Is there a Blender for dummies? Or is it Blender? And I'm just that dumb.
I mean, there are simpler pieces of modeling, 3D modeling software, but Blender is basically a kind of like heavy-hitting artist thing.
Real says just layman. Render it?
Yeah, Blender is primarily meant for things like serious 3D production.
Yeah, I have used Blender. This is the only reason I even know of Blender.
Yeah, see, that looks good.
No, it doesn't. Here's a problem.
Almost.
You want it
you
the
have
other
to
way.
rotate. Yeah. Okay, he got it.
Yeah, don't worry, I know.
There you go.
Yeah. I need those poles along. Yeah, there. Yep, that's it right there. That's my model. Oh, look at it. It's so beautiful. The birth of a model.
Oh,
Eat your heart out, flat Earth.
Still birth of a model.
Oh,
So,
man.
actually, you probably will. You probably want to have it rotate around Z this way, right? Actually, no, 90. There. That's the rotate you want it, such that when we look at it like that.
That is so beautiful.
And you probably.
I think I'm gonna cry, guys. Holy shit!
Like that, right?
A little shorter, yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Oh, it's something, all right.
You better
All
thank
right.
Totoro for humoring you on this, because you know he hates doing this shit.
He is so aggravated right now.
I don't really care, to be honest. It's more fun.
Okay, so now we're looking at the model. This is where we live, people. Eat your hearts out.
Yeah.
Which projection did I apply? Give me a sec here. I'm not sure. I'm gonna go to the shader editor and I use the Mercator projection. Yes. Okay, good. That makes sense. Okay.
Okay, so here's a problem. Can you make a sun? Or
sure.
No, wait. I don't know if do you need to make a sun, or would you just need your camera to be the sun?
Whatever you want. I can make a yellow sphere if that helps.
Yeah. Because you can also you can also have you can be on Earth and look at the sun, right?
Sure.
Oh man, that's perfect.
We can make whatever material preview. We'll go set the shade smooth. Give it a new material here, and we're going to say that its base color is like that.
I'm just saying now, you motherfuckers better hope I never figure out Blender, because if I could do this, oh man, I'd just be doing this all day.
Emissive color, and we'll make it whatever.
I just want to say, it took me 2 hours to make that half cylinder, and then make it long.
20 seconds.
So how big would you like your sun to be?
I don't know. We don't know the size of our sun. We just see a glare mark, like a smudge. Okay. So let's put it around Capricorn. If you can move it towards Capricorn, because right now we're doing this is like a
Capricorn would be to the south here, so that'd be Capricorn right there on this dotted line.
Okay. I would have to be I would have to be at the North Pole to tell you how far away it needs to be. You know what I mean? Because right now you wouldn't see it.
Well, if you want to place it such that it matches at least something, you would probably actually want it to be on the equator. And in that case, on the North Pole, it would be right on the horizon, right?
Yes.
That means it would have to be exceedingly far away.
Yes,
which means, makes sense so far.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm like over on the North Pole here, how do I make this such that I keep forgetting how to free position my view? I can do that. I keep forgetting how to pan. That's zoom. Now let's do it like that. I'm going to place myself like so and like that. See? So now I am essentially on the North Pole, and the sun would have to be quite far away. I'm going to make it bigger so we can actually see the thing. All right.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So now we've placed it so that it matches the North Pole. And in fact, it matches on the equator, right? So if I go like so, I'm on the equator here, and I look up, I would, well, it's a little bit difficult to go. I would see the sun right overhead if I'm on the
Yes.
equator. But the problem is that I would see it up above me from essentially everywhere along that equator line at the same time. So everybody in the Philippines and Indonesia and Africa and South America would see the sun at the same position.
Then make it smaller and closer.
Then you go Z. Actually, let me zoom out so I can actually get a proper grab on it. Grab Z. Make it smaller and closer. It's going to have to be a lot closer. I mean, it's never going to be actually close enough because at all times it is going to be above the horizon for everybody. So that
Yep.
won't work. And you will have just lost it from the poles.
No, because it's close, it only has so much of a reach. For instance, like a lamp.
You can still see a lamp from pretty far away, even if it doesn't shine a light.
There's a shade on it.
Okay, so
A
now the sun
celestial-
Okay, so
That's a
now I'm
celestial
gonna.
shade. You can't
Okay.
see. Hey, time out. You can't see this, Totoro, because
Come
the
on.
glare.
That's okay.
I
Don't
think
worry.
it would be.
I
think
I
it would-
gotcha. I'm gonna give the sun a little dunce cap.
Perfect.
I'm gonna delete that face.
They're perfect. Okay, so now
Yeah.
essentially, so far, I have established terminator lines, just like time and date, right?
You will have created something, all right. So
Yeah.
if we make the sun smaller actually and set it in deeper in there,
Yeah, that's good.
this guy here, we probably are gonna have to. Let me switch to this kind of an edit mode. We're gonna have to probably shrink this down.
Nope. That it would be wider, because remember, you still see the sun.
Well, if you see the sun, then you would be able to see the sun from quite far away.
Mm-hmm. Half the Earth should be able to see that sun right now.
Okay. In that case, we're going to make it so, well, it can't be too tiny because it has to have a definite size. We can't make it a point light source.
Well, it could be that small and be so powerful that the glare gives you the size that we
Sean.
You can filter out the glare, Sean, and it will and it will be and you can see the surface of the sun very clearly.
Yeah.
So it definitely has a definite size.
Yes, and because you magnify to do so, the sun then looks bigger when we see it, like when we show videos of it.
Ah, damn it! I need new collection in here.
And I want to make
lampshade.
I want to make this clear. The quote unquote lampshade is SimEther. SimEther. I like that.
Is what?
SimEther. Simulation.
Wait,
ether.
are you making an actual model, Sean, or are you making?
Yes, that's what we're doing. No, I want you to understand something. This model
way,
works.
shape, or form that there is a cone over the sun. Don't even.
It's not an actual cone. It's SimEther.
Okay.
Are you sure it's not like electromagnetic waves?
It probably is.
No. It's a medium.
That would make more sense than SimEther.
Well, it's kind of like a dunce cap, which is pretty appropriate, I think, for this goofy fucking idea.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you know what?
pretty
You guys
much.
are just
I
you
think
guys
it
are
would be.
modeling.
I think it
Hang
would
on.
be
The
more
problem is,
logical, Sean.
Mhm.
It would be more logical instead of a half cylinder that it was a full cylinder,
Mm-mm.
and the that the sun was geocentric.
No, hell no, it's
You
not
know,
geocentric. You
that
crazy.
would make
Now you're
more
talking.
sense for
Now
your
you're
model that you're
talking.
making.
Oh, that is
Oh,
fucking amazing. Look at that. Look at
yeah,
that
except it's
motherfuck. That is
it's
amazing.
it's wrong.
It's not wrong. Okay. It's not wrong. You're telling me that okay, you just need to figure out the size. That's the problem. Because obviously it needs to cover half the earth right now. We both know that.
Pull it,
And that
pull it.
terminator line works.
What is the alleged distance from the Earth to the Sun?
93 million miles.
Okay, so we need to pull it back by a ratio of like 1 to
No,
like
we don't.
something scale.
No, we don't. No, we
Yeah,
don't.
yes,
So these are
yes.
15
Well,
degree
That's the whole
I'm
point of
increments
okay.
the
with
model
Again,
is to
45
poke
wait,
at it.
here's the problem. Here's what the problem is. You motherfuckers are model afflicted. And because of this, you
Okay,
guys,
Bear.
don't do it. I knew it was gonna do that. And because of that, you guys are forced to assume the sun is 93 million miles away. I understand it's not. I understand that the SimEther gives you this illusion. That's- oh,
I see. And the source for all of this is trust me, bro. I got it. Got it. Sean said it, so it has to be true.
hang on. You guys
Here's the
don't. I'm
problem,
not.
though, Sean. Another problem
Yes.
I just thought of.
Uh huh.
You know,
Yeah.
these guys here in Indonesia that they're just about to go into nighttime.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, is the problem obvious?
Well, first of all,
The sun
it's
is
not like a
still
light.
at like 45 degrees high up in the sky, and suddenly it just like
No, it wouldn't
sun
just turn off.
off.
Blinks
Nope.
out.
See,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
still when
That
it's
is
very
okay.
high up in the sky.
This is a Totoro issue, not a Sean's model
It's
issue.
this is a
Because
geometry issue of Sean's model.
Okay, look, here's the problem. If I get a lamp right now and I put a lampshade over it, what you're going to see is the light be very bright, and then as you go further out, you're going to see it fucking start dimming. This doesn't show that. This
Okay,
doesn't show
no
the
problem.
dimming. That
I mean,
this doesn't show. This
Oh,
doesn't
sure it
show
can.
dusk.
Sure it can. See,
No, now you
like
just
that.
turn the lights out. No, because there's still an on and off.
Well, we need some sort of a method of
Okay.
how would that work?
Imagine that as you go further towards the terminal line, it dims and becomes dusk instead
So,
of just the on off that you have.
funny story about that. Yeah, there we go. That's the angle I wanted. Funny story about that.
Go ahead.
No, what I mean is like the intensity of the light here right under the sun
Mhm.
versus the one right at the terminator line would simply follow a Pythagorean relationship, right? So this would just be essentially like 40% less light, and then it would be suddenly night. Doesn't matter what the absolute brightness is, that relationship would hold.
Okay. If I get a lamp right now and show you that the light has a gradient of brightness till it gets dark, it would show that you're on off. It's not correct.
Get a lamp with a shade, point it down at the table, and you're going to see a very crisp, sharp edge to where the light stops because of the
No,
shade.
you won't. You will not.
If
How
you
do I do this
if you
without-
did this kind of a thing, that'd be a different story. Actually, I have it.
Ooh,
incorrectly
okay.
parented. Hang on.
Can my SimEther be transparent to a certain degree? So light can filter through it?
What?
Okay. So if I used, like, for instance, if I used a white shade versus a black shade, the black shade, I agree, will probably give you that because there's no light. Light won't be able to filter out of the SimEther. So if we use something that light can filter out a little bit, it may give that dusk. It may give dusk.
I'm really not following.
So see how light can't get through my SimEther?
Oh,
Your
you mean that
SimEther?
lampshade?
SimEther. Yeah, SimEther.
You
Yeah.
mean that lampshade?
The
Yeah, the
SimEther.
I
lamp,
thought it
the
was
lampshade.
SimEther.
You want
It's simulation ether, motherfuckers.
SimEther. Gotcha.
Oh, I just fucking
SimEther.
hit my knee so hard. God damn it,
it?
that hurt.
Good. Table nose.
This is
It's punishing you for your stupidity.
this is excellent. I love it.
Yeah, maybe
I
his
did.
SimEther is just a bunch of like a whole field of neutrino particles that are just, defying the
Yeah,
laws of physics
neutrino
here.
particles are not real. Stop that shit.
Oh, dude.
That's some more made up bullshit.
Congratulations. I didn't think it was possible to fuck up the flat Earth model any worse than it already was, but damn, did you guys have
Well-
not eclipsed that by several orders of magnitude.
We have given it the old college try.
I need to put out a request for a better blender fucking operator.
Clearly,
I need
yes.
I need fucking dusk, and I can't get dusk with this guy.
The problem's not the blender operator.
It won't matter what the lampshade is made out of. If it behaves like that, where you get nighttime, where on the Earth you get very obvious nighttime.
Okay.
It's fairly dusk, but then it really gets dark real fast. But the sun is not high up in the sky
That's
for
the
you.
problem.
It's down here, apparently.
Yeah,
Okay,
when it
here's-
decides to wink out, it's still 30 or 40 degrees up in the damn sky. That's not what we see.
That would have me
See-
worried, to be honest.
Again, the glare is the issue, but I
Clearly.
need.
No, just no.
This model works. I just need someone who can create it correctly. Okay, that's the
course.
problem. So what I
Is that not created correctly?
wait. Okay.
How do you want it?
Okay. No. I see. Okay. I see what's happening. It's coming to me. The North and the South are doing what I
think it should be
want.
flipped.
Hang on. The North and the South are doing what I want. And if they're doing what I want, I need curvature
Yeah,
at the
no.
equator.
Right. Yeah, I know the North and the South are almost doing what you want. So all you need is maybe a couple more. Like you need the surface to curve this way,
everybody
and you're going to
stop.
be there.
Everybody stop. We're stopping.
So
Thank you,
what you
nerd.
need.
Hang on. No, Totoro, you got to stop. Thank you, nerd. I appreciate it for the super chat. He says, we can have Travis back. Sean isn't. Jesus Christ. I got to proofread these before I fucking just say them. It's fucked up, nerd. It's fucked up. Hey, hang on. Time out. You guys have said this is dumber than flat Earth, but I don't see any flat Earthers here telling Totoro to fucking make this work or to make their model work. So I at least get effort for that. And my model, this is where we fucking live, people. You guys just are model afflicted. That's all this. This is the only problem.
Yes, clearly.
Sean,
You-
even the flat
We
earthers
live
are
on
looking
a
for their own
planet-
net.
we live on a planet that is within a universe
So-called
that
planet.
adheres to this model, but the Earth itself does not adhere to this. No.
Yes, it does. This is where we live.
Maybe
And
if it
I
was
need
a
you guys to
complete cylinder,
I think
I could
think-
humor it.
I think
hang on.
Tex
Here's-
needs to reread, or Sean needs to reread Ptolemy's argument.
Hang
Who
on.
pretty
I'm
much
not done.
demolishes this right away.
I need you to understand that this is also the first time that I've been able to make our model visual. So I am going through the bumps of making it work and figuring things out with a layman blender operator, obviously.
Clearly, that's the problem.
Clearly, that's a problem. So give me some slack, people. That's fucked up, nerd. I need my equator to have some rise. Is that possible?
I mean, yeah, because you're apparently a skater and you just can't stop seeing half pipes everywhere.
Yes. But again, we all do know that the equator has curvature. So
Yeah, in 2 dimensions, that's the problem for you. Both along the longitude and latitude lines.
yes,
Hence, it is a sphere.
no, it's a cylinder. Those points will not connect. I mean, the only problem I'm seeing here is that the Terminator line doesn't work, but we know why it doesn't work.
Well, what happens? Show us the movement of the sun throughout the course of a day. I can't wait to
Oh
see
yeah,
it.
Sean's model. Let's go. And over the course of a day, it'll look like that
Yes.
on the equinox.
Now what? Yeah, now
Yeah.
what?
He is at the end of the simulation. Now, because this is obviously a projection and this is not real life, now go to the beginning.
So you mean like there's
How
another one like
how
that?
does it reappear from the other side?
Yeah. Perfect. That's fine for the sake of this argument. That's fine. That is what happens.
Like that, right?
Yep.
So you're saying that light wraps around this dimension.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Yep.
And on a if the year, the time of year. So I'm gonna go ahead and rotate the lampshade here a little bit. It's like that. Is it? I don't know. Maybe. To where we are over the Tropic of Cancer.
Yes. And I want to point this out. Go to the North Pole or look at the north. It has some light.
Not really.
Fine.
The sun would be still below the horizon.
Move it a little bit above your weird line, Mr. Engineer.
Okay. You want the sun to go higher.
Yes. No. Now bring it a little bit towards us, towards the north, because that Capricorn line is just
already, but it's already over the Tropic of Cancer. It's actually
I don't feel like it is. I feel like it's just it needs just a smidge.
You sure?
It's just a smidge.
Just give me a smidge, eh? That is. I mean, I could measure it if you want.
Just a smidge. See where the 2 is? Make your line go where the 2 is. Right. A little bit more. Right there. Yep.
Make the sun go here?
Yes.
Like that?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, we still do not have sun vision from the North Pole. In fact, we probably wouldn't have. Yeah, I mean, clearly we would be intersecting.
Well, then just move it over. Just move it. Wait, no, look, that's light. Wait,
no,
that's not even. That's not the,
hang on,
that's not
got
the light
this.
part. Yeah, it still needs to go more.
What, more to the north?
Yeah, because during when it's over Cancer, it's 24-hour sun. Come on, man, this is reality.
Where does the moon play into all of this, Sean?
Hey, you know what? Stop moving the goalpost. Stop moving past where we're at right now. Stay on topic.
Like that?
Jesus.
Would that be it?
Why'd you do that? Why'd you tilt it?
I mean, I try to like make it shine like that. If you want the lampshade straight down, that works too.
Oh no. I need no. Okay, I see why you did it now. Okay.
Because I mean,
no, yeah. Because then the other side is I know. I saw. Okay, it does need to get tilted a little bit.
Like what is it? Do we want it to be normal to the surface, right angle to the surface?
Yeah, of course. Totoro, man, this is reality.
Cool.
That's more like it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I like that.
It is still below the horizon at the north, but you know.
Then go up a tad.
Up, away from the surface. Okay.
Yes, a tad.
Well, here I am, still at the North Pole, situated pretty much. So this is me looking up.
Well, as you go up, don't you need to move it over a little bit too?
No.
Back towards the north. Okay,
So
fine. Up
if you
and
want to go
towards
to the
North Pole.
north,
Yeah,
towards the
there we
north,
go.
yeah, sure. So it would actually have to be if we are sitting right under. So this is from above. So this is from below. Good, and we'll make it a perspective projection with the rendered preview. So now I am pretty much right along the North Pole, right? The lamp or the sun would have to be like 23 degrees. I don't know, it would have to be like there in the sky. And then see what we've done. So render preview, I'm gonna have to increase the power of the lamp here because it actually isn't really casting any light anymore.
That is, I like. Oh, that is beautiful. That
Yeah, beautiful, except for we're just illuminating the entire Earth at the same time, from you know, date line to date line, right across the entire equator. That doesn't happen.
Well, this
So
is.
do we narrow this
Okay,
lampshade again?
No,
Do we
no.
need to?
Go to the SimEther option so we can add that atmosphere in.
Do we need to narrow the lampshade?
Ooh, I like what you've done. Ooh, I like it. A
Yeah.
little bit more. A little bit more. No, the other way. Come on, man. South America doesn't have 24-hour darkness.
Well, so what, like that?
Yes, but again, let's make this
Does that?
clear. No, it can't be like that because
But now we've moved the the sun is like 45 degrees to the surface here, so you'd have overhead sun in Europe, which never
bigger
happens.
sun. Bigger sun. Wait, what? It never
Yeah,
has
you
what?
would have, if you were in Northern America or in like Europe or Asia, you would have the sun directly overhead at 90 degrees azimuth.
Okay, I see the problem. What if maybe
I
the
mean,
cylinder has too much curvature?
I mean, we can too much curvature. Okay, well, that's gotta be a hoot. So along which axis do we make it like that? Or what do we do? I mean, you can try and squash it out, I guess, but you're just gonna end up with a flat Earth.
A flat, yeah.
Like I can do that,
Yeah,
and then we're
nope.
back to
No, that is
flat Earth.
we don't live there.
Okay.
We live there. Okay. Yeah, I gotta make this
Hang on,
work.
let me just mess with this thing here. I'm gonna keep it in wireframe mode. I'm gonna go above. I want to go into edge select, and I want to select a loop. That and that. No. Good stuff. And I want to go ahead and mark seam. Good. Now we want to go into UV editing, unwrap it. I need to do a different kind of unwrap. Nope. Right, I want a spherical projection. Not quite what I wanted. What if I unmark the seam? Spherical projection. Ooh, not quite. Blender UV unwrap sphere. Yeah, it's gonna be a tricky one because spheres are fucking misbehaved in UV unwrapping. Blender unwrap Mercator. Generate UVs. Follow active quads. I'm gonna have to sort of mess about with this because Blender really doesn't like the type of unwrapping that I wanted to do. Perhaps if I did it like that. You go ahead and talk amongst yourselves while I mess about with this.
I'm happy you found your glasses, Tex. Unfortunately, we have nothing else to read.
Yeah, that's okay though, because I have them.
Well, maybe now you can see that my model works.
Close enough, I guess. Not really. It's still
Yeah, well,
a bit
I don't know.
deformed.
You need to be extremely precise, seeing how you guys were critiquing my model so damn much.
What is causing that seam up there? Is there a white line here? Oh yeah, there is actually.
Oh, the border.
Yeah, that's the border of the image. That's what was putting the white line on there. It was actually, this is actually not an ideal projection for this. Let me grab a different projection. I want the that was that angle, equirectangular. That'd be perfect for me, yes sir. Yep. That, save. Equirectangular is the one I want for myself here. So I'm going to create a new material. Yep. And then what I want is I want to go into the layout mode, material preview. I'm going to go down here, add there we go, add texture, image texture, and I'm going to grab my equirectangular one. There we go. Color goes to base color. Connection. Good stuff. All right, much better. Yep, that's looking pretty close. I can't quite correctly map these at the top. The geometry of this, of my model isn't quite the best for that. Maybe I'd be able to do it. Deselect those guys. How do I unwrap you, stupid thing? Because I don't have two vertices on here. And Blender doesn't support stretching out a vertex onto a line. It doesn't quite work that way. So to that end, I could grab a different texture and apply it differently on here. But basically the problem is that right at the pole, the thing ends in a single vertex, and Blender doesn't allow for me to stretch out a vertex to a non-zero size. So I can't map the poles exactly to the same projection I have here.
Yeah, no worries. We get the gist. I mean, you are just trying to show a conflicted model to everyone, but whatever.
Yeah, sure. If you say so. So let's grab your lampshade thing. First of all, I'm going to hide the lampshade because it isn't required. And check it out. Going to make it fairly far and very powerful. Now let's just go ahead and type it in like 10,000. Whatever, close enough, 5,000. Give or take. And yeah, check it out, it works. Actually, even better is what I should do is I should rotate this 23.5 degrees.
I feel like you did it the wrong way.
It doesn't matter. It's going to work either way. It's either here or on the other side of the orbit. Doesn't matter. So yeah. Man,
Yeah,
check
I
it
wish
out.
I
It
could get
works.
some. I wish I can get some curvature on my equator.
Too bad it doesn't work on your model.
If I had some curvature, it would.
Yeah, but then you'd end up with a sphere because you'd have to have
No.
curvature along the equator. You'd have to have curvature in this direction and in this direction, and then you just end up reproducing a sphere.
If you continue doing that, but if the Earth's curvature at the equator was more
So what
significant,
do you want? Do you want now to switch from a half pipe Earth to a bowl Earth, like a half sphere?
it's got to look like my model, but have essentially a hump at the top.
Well, you go ahead and have fun modeling that because I can tell you it's not going to work.
And we just hit tutorial's bullshit limit.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, it's okay. It's fun. I know my model works. I just gotta fix.
Sure.
Just gotta. We just made this, so obviously I'm not gonna have all the quirks fucking fixed and understanding of what it takes to be 100%. But I'm on the right path.
So yeah, I mean, this was kind of a pointless exercise because I could just load up any piece of planetarium software and that's going to reproduce this much better.
So if you save that and you sent that to me, I'd be able to do everything you, in a sense, do everything you were just fucking with.
Maybe, yeah.
I feel like
It's
I
not
wouldn't be
it's
able
not a
to.
matter of like modeling this up takes 30 seconds if you know what you're doing. It's more a question of like knowing where to click and what to do.
Yeah, I don't. Never mind. Don't even worry about it. I wish I understood Blender. I just can't figure it out. It's so way over my head. I have used the video editor version of it. That is amazing. You can do some really crazy shit on that. And if I could do this, you could add like 3D modeling into it. That'd be even better. But I'm nowhere near that shit.
I can tell you already it's not going to work on that half pipe thing or hump thing. No matter what you do, it's not going to work. But you know,
it's a simulation, man. Is this what we're given at the time?
Sure.
No, so you were talking about you had talked to Shane. Was that a conversation that we had
No, that was on the MMM server group chat when he once popped in, and I just happened to stop by as well.
Okay.
It was about a month or two ago. I didn't really talk to him as much, like everybody was yelling over each other, and Shane was trying to bullshit his way out of having to provide a force law. Where I think Blue actually asked him like derive the gravitational acceleration on Earth, and Shane basically just did a reverse where he did it from measurements of stuff falling instead of doing a proper prediction, instead of like just a measurement.
Oh, okay, yeah, I remember that conversation. I remember seeing the tail of that. See, I don't get it. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me because what we did like right after that whole Shane thing, and you did all your little equations, and all those little things pop out that don't work. I still can't figure out if he's bullshitting or he's just using a lot of actual information and just bullshitting around it. Does that make sense?
I think he's consciously bullshitting, but he's trying to like it's like a performative act of self-delusion, to where he's trying to convince himself that it works, even though it actually doesn't.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Because it looks like he's using known physics, and then he just clumps different topics of known physics into the same paragraph, and that's it.
It
There's no explanation value or
it's
nothing.
that is the goal. It's to make it perceive. Thing is, you think he's using actual physics. He doesn't. He uses bits and pieces of verbiage from various areas of physics, but they do not actually go together reasonably. It's just to lay people, he sounds smart because he's using big words and using a lot of them and very quickly. But in actual fact, what he's saying is complete and utter gibberish. It means nothing. So it's a literal word salad.
Yeah, because I think when when you were going over all that stuff, I noticed right away was like he was talking about electromagnetism, and then he would clump it with electrical charge, and then he clumped it with. Then his crux was it all equals 9.8.
Yeah, I don't think there was actually any way to. I think. I mean, he was just using the terms electromagnetism, electric charge, and whatever, just throwing them around. But there was no representation of them in any equation. When you make an actual, like the words that we use in science are basically just represented in equations as quantities. We give them concrete relationships. That's the entire idea of making an equation. Is the equation is just a very clear and unambiguous way to formalize what we're trying to say, which quantities relate to each other in what proportions and in what relationships. And what Shane is doing is he's just using terms, throwing them around, and then not actually providing any. He isn't actually applying any of the physical quantities that those terms describe inside of his equation. So instead of what the equations that he gave, or rather, more like the calculation that he gave, is if I just observe something falling and time it with a clock, then I can calculate the downward acceleration, like how fast it's falling down, or how fast it's accelerating down. And that is a measurement. That is not a prediction of what the number should be. Right. So the way that science is done is first you have a prediction of what should be happening, and you do that from your causal factor or whatever kind of mechanism that you say is applicable here. That's going to give you, I predict that this is going to fall at a rate of 9.8 meters per second because of input variable mass of the Earth, gravitational constant, and yada yada yada, right? And distance to the Earth. You put those in, it comes up with this is the predicted acceleration. Then you do an experiment. You measure the position of a falling object at a few points in time. Then you, from those, calculate the actual observed acceleration and compare to what you predicted. That's how science is done. Shane basically skipped the entire first portion and try to conflate that him measuring the result is the prediction. So yeah, it'd be like Blue here if he, instead of predicting what the deflection of a pendulum was on his Cavendish experiment, he instead just measured it after the fact and then proclaimed that therefore it matches whatever we say it should be.
And
even though you
he
never
says,
predicted it.
and his causal factor is SimEther.
Yeah. and the color of the milk that he color of the like chocolate milk that he drank that morning or whatever, it really doesn't matter. It's just, I
So,
mean,
and that was why you were saying, okay, let's apply an actual situation to these equations, so you can see that he's actually doing the equations rather than just copy paste the equation.
Well, he has no equation. That thing is, he has no causal he has no relationship that would explain from his causal mechanism to, or you, I mean, like Shame or Blue?
Yeah, Shane. No, Shane. Like what I mean is like when he says electromagnetic blah blah blah, he'll use the equations that describe it. Like I think
No,
you
he
had
doesn't.
it. It was like,
that's the funny part. He doesn't.
Okay.
Because then I could easily run the equation and make a prediction based on if I input the variables in, whatever the variables may be, then I could come up with an answer. But if he tried to do that with any kind of electrical or electromagnetic equation, something like either the Lorentz force or even just Coulomb's law for the force between two charged particles, the problem is that I could say that, okay, so if I now make a system where there is zero net charge, the force should be zero, so the thing should float.
Yes. Okay. I see what you're saying now. So he just says he's saying electromagnet. There are equations, and then he moves on.
Yes. He never
Okay.
actually provides the goods.
Yeah, because we talked about that when if it was that whole electromagnetic shit. Because Witsit goes on that. We talked about what it would take just to be able to jump. What it would happen if you actually got that much charge in you.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, it would kill you very quickly, and then interesting things would happen. Like if you try to levitate something with electromagnetism, it wouldn't really end up very good for the person.
It'd be very bad. Matter of
Yeah,
fact, when you
probably.
see all those YouTube videos of people getting struck by lightning, it would look like Revelations.
Perhaps. I mean, imagine this: there's so much electrostatic potential when a lightning strike jumps like a kilometer down from a cloud, down to a person on the ground. That amount of electrostatic potential, and it doesn't even lift them 1 millimeter off the ground. Instead, it just kills
Yeah,
them. But why
they
didn't
should be
they go
able to.
shooting up into the sky?
Yeah, they like I said, like Revelation. It should be like and then shoot straight up,
Yeah,
or under their guides be able to fly for 30 seconds. One of the two.
yeah. And yet, lightning-induced levitation or non-aerodynamic flight or ballistic flight never happens. The thing always just ends up charred on the ground right where it was hit.
Now that could be no. I was going to say that could be just the fact that it is an object being struck by this current, but that current is what would be needed to jump. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, that's the problem is with an electrostatic field of such a magnitude, the field would experience what we call an electromotive force, which would basically make any place where a charge could accumulate on the object you'd start basically throwing lightning out of that point. And because the charge would the electric
Pass through. Yeah.
particles would basically try and really, really heavily try to get away from each other and try and equalize with the surrounding environment. That's one of the problems when you're trying to construct a very high voltage system, something like a Van de Graaff generator, right? Where you want like 100,000 volts on a little surface. You basically just end up with charge dissipation from any kind of surface right across the air and into anything that is nearby, and you just have trouble building up enough charge to where the voltage potential gets sufficiently steep to whatever you want to do. So yeah, it's just
His argument could work if we never left the ground. Because
it wouldn't even work on the ground. Because you can always just ground stuff.
That's
you can
what
equalize. Yeah, you're going to equalize the electric potential, and then it's, game over for his argument.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because once you ground it, you're just going to start baking like if that were the case, you just start baking like a potato.
No, like you can't generate a voltage potential or electric field potential at all, so there would be no net force.
Oh, okay. I see. Okay, I see what you're saying now.
You have to have
the same aspect of touching a battery terminal with a metal wrench is what he's describing. The potential wouldn't happen because you have the negative on there, so it doesn't do that arc. Yeah.
So Witsit likes to sort of obfuscate this by saying, "Hey, everything's always electrostatic. Show me anything that is not electrostatic." Like he always says that, I don't know if he's talking about electrons. I'm not sure if he believes in atoms. Maybe he doesn't. I know there are some flirs that don't. But if he believes in atoms, one of the fundamental properties of atoms is that they're electrically neutral. So they basically are not really affected by electric fields. Not like if you make the electric field extremely powerful, you can get some effect, but at that point, it wouldn't really be subtle at all.
It wouldn't be constant either.
An electric field can be a fairly constant gradient over a fairly long distance. So you could do that, I guess.
So
But
he's
it
got
wouldn't.
that part, but it falls apart right after.
I mean, it's not even like that. That is actually not his part. He basically just took that from Feynman. But the problem is that he didn't quite finish reading that part of the book by Feynman, which basically explains that yes, there is an atmospheric voltage potential gradient, but the problem is the gradient stops when you either hit the ground or a building or anything that is enclosed and electrically conductive or grounded. Then inside of a building, you do not have an electric field potential. It's only out in the open sky, and I mean there is a. Hang on, let me show you. There's a picture of this. It looks something like that. It's basically that that voltage gradient does not, extend through inside of buildings or inside of enclosed spaces. If you were sitting inside of a building, that voltage gradient is like if that 100 volts line would go above the building, and then the building itself would be at 0 volts versus everything else inside as well. So
It would do that.
Yeah, so what would happen, right? Yeah, exactly. So, what gives? Is everybody inside of a building going to float? What if I'm not even inside of a building and you're going to say, it just somehow penetrates the building, whatever. What if I'm deep down inside of a mine shaft that goes like a half a mile underground? Would I float there? Because there, I can for sure tell you that there's no voltage potential there. Anything that will have been there will have dissipated.
Yeah, any object. That makes sense.
Yeah, anything that is electrically conductive at least a little bit would dissipate that gradient. The voltage gradient is, although present, the amount of particles that have that voltage potential is not very large, so it doesn't really take much current to dissipate that voltage gradient. So it's basically like, even though the gradient is there, doesn't have a lot of oomph behind it. Like you can't just stick an electrode out into the air and run an electric motor off of it. You can do a corona motor, which is just about the lightest thing. Like you can move a little piece of paper. But if you were trying to
is that potential physical?
Yes, absolutely it is. And you need a.
Why couldn't? And this is not my argument. Why couldn't the field be giving you that effect then?
Well, because the field itself, that voltage potential is caused by particles that are there. There's just not that many charged particles in the air, so it wouldn't actually cause a whole lot of pressure. Like if you stuck out an electrode, right, from this guy here, you stuck out an electrode into like the 300 volts potential line and try to generate any power from it. So you have a electrode that goes down to the ground, one that goes up into 300 volts. So now you have a 300 volt potential difference. That should be enough to cause a current, right? So presumably you could drive in a machinery with that. But the problem is that there's so few particles up there, so few charged particles up there, that as soon as you try to drive anything with it, that voltage potential will immediately dissipate right next to the row up. You basically deplete whatever particles were there to give you that electromotive force.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Imagine
it's proportional to what is charged, being charged.
Imagine it's the world's flattest battery, which has just barely enough juice to run the lightest load, something like moving a piece of paper or something like that. And as soon as a very small piece of paper, and as soon as you actually try to do any amount of work with it, it would immediately die. It would just get depleted. Sort of like that. It's kind of hard to put into words.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm typing something.
That's okay. So the typical way that we measure the power potential of or the amount of energy, or like the amount of work, will be like this. So you would say that the amount of work that a battery can do is, it's a little bit more complicated. It's voltage times current times time. And so the amount of work that a battery can do is proportional essentially to the voltage the amount of current that it can deliver, and then for how long it can deliver that current at that voltage. And the problem with this atmospheric gradient is that even though the voltage is decent, the amount of current it can provide and the amount of time for which it can provide that current is minuscule. So it's a battery that essentially depletes almost instantaneously.
Rendering it useless.
Pretty much, yeah. That's why we don't stick antennas up into the sky to gather up electricity and run our machinery.
I wonder, is there is there a way to use lightning to charge a battery? Storage
Not
system.
really. It's the lightning, although delivers a fairly decent amount of energy, it all comes in one big whack, and batteries don't like that. Batteries like to be charged slowly.
Yeah, and then placing it would be, well, if you can make lightning.
Yeah, imagine it would be like trying to move a car, but you only have one bomb to explode behind it. So yes,
I think that'd be.
Yes, it does have quite a lot of energy, but if it all gets delivered at the same time, you probably liquefy all the people inside of it, and then the car would not look like a car afterwards anymore. Although it'd be probably at the destination.
So okay. You know about man-made lightning, right?
I mean, yeah, that's essentially what any kind of a corona discharge or any kind of electrostatic discharge. Yeah, you make lightning anytime you open and close a switch.
Lightning in the millions of watts or whatever the fuck it's called. Volts.
Yes, there are megavolt systems, but those are mostly technical demos, and there are long distance transmission lines, that kind of stuff.
Do they produce more power than it takes to create the effect?
They definitely use more power than it takes to produce the effect. Yeah, you can't. There's no such thing as free lunch in physics. So yes, if you want to make a lightning, then you're gonna have to supply more power than you're gonna get if you were trying to like capture it, which you can't actually. But whatever.
But then how do they make lightning? Like,
how does who make lightning?
So there's a university. Let me find it real quick. There's a university that does this man-made lightning.
I mean, there are plenty of demos where a guy stands inside of a Faraday cage and he has a giant Tesla coil outside and just hitting the thing with lightning bolts, essentially like electrical discharges, arcs.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about.
Oh, rocket triggered lightning. That's a somewhat different thing. Oh no, I know what you mean. They're basically not really generating lightning. They have to be already very near a lightning, very inside of a thunderstorm, essentially. Yeah. So it's lightning is just about getting ready to discharge. It's just needs a little bit more conductive path. So what they do is they fire up a rocket that just pulls a wire and gives a more advantageous conductive channel. So they basically have constructed a very long lightning rod. So the electrical gradient in the air that's already trying to look for a suitable point to discharge, you just given it a very advantageous path down. So it just hits that.
Okay. Yeah. You're essentially putting raising an umbrella up high enough to get there faster.
Yep. But eventually it would have discharged anyway, just somewhere else probably.
Yeah, you're just raising that charge point high to closer.
And in fact, it's a bit of a problem for actual rocket launches. Yeah, see, that one actually just bypassed the rocket. It's actually a problem for actual real rocket launches where the exhaust gas is coming out of the rocket. Sometimes they tend to actually be slightly ionized gas because the rocket exhaust can be so high temperature where they are partially become conductive. So now you have essentially a rocket that is a giant stick in the sky riding, and behind it's got a bunch of ionized gas in the exhaust fighting up from the ground. So you've basically now created a giant lightning rod. It's not a very good lightning rod, but if there's enough lightning potential in the if there's enough thunderstorms nearby, you can't actually get lightning to discharge into the rocket as it's climbing up. It's happened to Apollo several times. I think there was what was Apollo 12, the one that had 2 or 3 lightning strikes in a row?
Damn.
Yeah, it had some of their signal equipment basically died from that, and they fortunately they didn't have to abort the mission, but the computers on board got very unhappy about that.
Why don't they just add some type of lightning rod? I mean, airplanes do it.
Well, no, not really. Where would you put the lightning rod? Where the problem was that it hit the rocket anyway. They didn't anticipate that it was going to hit the rocket so hard. So
wait, hang on, I'm confused. When lightning strikes an airliner, it still reaches the ground.
Yeah, so it just uses the airliner as a piece of its path along the way.
Okay, and a rocket is moving too fast to do so?
No, it's just. No, it might get hit just the same.
Okay, so it does the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Because I thought that was crazy when I first found out. Like, I always thought lightning hit the plane, and then just throughout all the grounding in that plane, it dissipates. And then I watched the video and found out that it hits it and just uses it and passes through. Or that's the goal.
Yes, that's the idea. It's supposed to only travel along the outer skin of the airplane and continue on down.
Yeah, because I've seen a few lightning, few pictures of that. It's fucking unreal. See if I can find a picture, because it is actually pretty badass. There we go. Something like that. I don't think that's real. But that's basically what it does. And when it doesn't pass through, that's when you get the shorts and the glitches and all that kind of stuff, right?
Oh no, even if it does pass through, you just have to make sure that all the equipment is properly shielded and is not in direct galvanic contact with the skin of the airplane.
Would your cell phone fry if this happened?
No, it's not galvanically connected to the outside skin of the airplane.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You said
insulated.
It travels out the outside, and that's why it doesn't. That's why you wouldn't want it to pass through the whole thing.
Yes, that's why the outer skin is not electrically connected to any of the inner parts. So in fact, it's one of the problems for the Boeing 787, because that thing is mostly made out of plastic, or as they like to say, composites. It's not electrically conductive, so there was a risk, very much a real risk, that the lightning would puncture the surface and go travel through the insides of the plane, any kind of metallic exposed surface in there. And that was a problem. So instead, the Boeing 787 has thin metallic strips applied on its skin. It's right underneath the paint, so you wouldn't actually see it. The paint is over the top of it, but they have thin metallic strips that are supposed to function as being basically creating a continuous connection throughout the entire fuselage of the airplane to make sure that it's all correctly grounded and connected. It's also got to do with static electricity buildup and that kind of stuff.
If lightning punctured the skin, the frame, the skin, would the plane blow up?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. I accidentally muted my
when lightning hits, if it punctures and reaches inside the cabin, wouldn't the plane blow up because they're pumping oxygen and shit in? Or is that a different type of system?
Normal. It's normal air in there. It's not oxygen, not pure oxygen anyway.
Oh, okay. So the plane's an open system.
The plane just breathes normal air that's around it. It just gets compressed to a higher pressure so that people don't, go flat. But no, it's just normal air that's outside of the aircraft that gets pumped in. The thing that would most likely happen is you get in, you could fry individual electronics inside of there. If it accidentally managed, it would be very unlikely to ignite the fuel, the fuel that's carried in the wings, for example, because that isn't actually separately insulated. The fuel is in direct contact with the outer skin of the aircraft. But there isn't actually an explosive mixture in there, because there's just on modern airliners you have a thing called the fuel inerting system, to where the volume of air that's inside of the fuel tanks above the right above the fuel is actually coming from a thing called the inerting system, which depletes oxygen in it. So it's basically like it's mostly nitrogen in there. So it's not an actually combustible mixture. It wouldn't burn.
Yeah, and I just learned yesterday that nitrogen is what's used to keep rockets from blowing up on launch, and a few other things that I was watching last night about it. I didn't know that. I didn't know when they launch rockets, they spray shit tons of nitrogen all over the surface of it before launch.
What? No. It's water. What do you mean?
No, I said it was either liquid nitrogen or nitrogen. I watched the Sawyer launch last night, and they were talking about it. To burn off get all the fuels that leaks while it's sitting on the pad.
Okay. I don't know. It might be a very specific for a type of rocket. I'm not aware of that.
Try to find it. Okay, this occurs when cryogenic boosters are used, liquid oxygen, liquid hydrogen as the warm up and launch pad. Hang on. Oh, it says water. No, okay, this was not the same thing. This was specifically for extinguishing any flammable fumes around the rocket before it launched. I know what we could do. I can just find the launch. And then you can hear what it said for yourself. Because you'll probably understand a lot better than I will. Where is it? Oh, I gotta go find it.
So sometimes what they might do is nitrogen inerting of the fuel tanks. That might be a thing that they do, like they pump in to make sure, although that usually, as far as I know, is done using helium, not necessarily nitrogen. But I mean, maybe pre-launch they inerted with nitrogen just because that's more abundant and more readily available.
All right. Here, okay. It was pretty close to launch.
Which rocket?
It was the Soyuz M2 or MS-28 launch.
Yep.
I found it. Turn the audio on.
So Soyuz doesn't use hydrogen, but yeah.
Because during the commentary they're talking about it, so this won't last more than 2-3 minutes.
Coming up on the T-minus 2 minute mark. Mark, T-minus 2 minutes. Coming up on the termination of the ground propellant feed to the rocket.
Yep, that makes sense. Soyuz has a very interesting launch method where they slowly run up the engines to full power. It looks weird, like there's a slow combustion under the rocket happening for like 10 to 15 seconds before it actually goes to full
Soyuz
juice.
2.1A booster about to go on internal power.
Yeah, they still use like big matchsticks inside of the engines to light them up. It's so funny.
And we've passed the T-minus 1 minute mark. About 20 seconds or so away from the retraction of the first of the two umbilicals buttressed up against the side of the Soyuz booster.
Come on, let us see the launch. Don't go back.
First umbilical. The second umbilical will retract in about 10 seconds to initiate the engine sequence start.
Yeah, just me start. There, so it slowly like lights up.
We have engine sequence start.
It still ain't going nowhere.
Engines revving up to full throttle and liftoff.
Boom, there we go.
Liftoff of
Full
the
juice,
89th
and
Progress
go.
resupply ship to the International Space Station. The vehicle has cleared the tower. Thrust on the first stage engines. Soyuz booster arcing out to the northeast from the launch site in the Central Asian desert.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 40. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
Good reports from the blockhouse in Baikonur. Good stability on the vehicle. Good first stage engine performance.
Двигатели в норме.
Okay, cool. Always fun seeing rockets go.
Yeah. I was trying to find that one part, but man, it's so difficult to find a 10-second explanation of something in this.
For sure, yeah. I believe you.
Yeah, but they were just talking about how they were spraying off. I think they said that, but
so it's possible that what they're doing is nitrogen purging. If you're talking about that, so nitrogen purging would be used to, if you have like the engines themselves have a bunch of turbo pumps in them, and a bunch of fuel lines and that kind of stuff. And you may want to make sure that there is no excess either oxygen or whatever inside, especially the fuel line, so it doesn't ignite on its own inside of the fuel lines. So you might purge those just before launch, before you open up the main fuel valves, to make sure that there's absolutely no combustible mixture in there at all.
Yeah,
so that could
that's
be a
basically
thing.
Yeah, that's what what the guy was saying they were doing.
Yeah, but that'll be like purging a literally just a pipe.
Oh, okay. But the goal of that is so that, like you said, nothing, when they do light up, none of those gases explode outside of the rocket.
So it's so that when they actually start the fuel flow from the tanks into the engines, because there's going to be a fairly long pipe system under there, it doesn't catch fire inside of the fuel line. That'll be bad.
Hey, Totoro, do you have a YouTube channel?
I might, although nothing's related to any of this.
Okay. Yeah, Real in the chat was asking if you had a YouTube channel.
Gotcha. Yeah, nothing to do with flat Earth or any kind of like discussions of this kind.
Okay. Nothing that you want shared.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be pertinent at all.
Yeah. All right, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not feeling too great right now. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end this one out. My head's starting to pound. Do appreciate it though. I wish I could go longer, but I got the worst headache in the world right now, and it's not going away.
We'll have a lie down. Hope wish you speedy recovery for that.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lay down and just sleep because it sounds like a great idea. Did you guys want to close it out with saying anything on your mind?
Thanks for a fun chat. Have a good one, and I hope you get better soon.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Blue, anything? He may be away from his computer. No worries though. Yeah, guys. Like I said, I apologize. I'm just not feeling too great. Woke up feeling pretty crappy. Definitely enjoyed the SimEther. That's the new model. Conversation.
SimEther.
Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed that part. I do clearly see I have some serious issues. But the goal of what I did is that it is possible for you to get your ideas and your thoughts and your imagination into the real world to visually see if it works. Anyone can do this. This is very simple. And I've also shown that you don't even have to do it yourself. There are people more than willing to show you how stupid you are. So I do appreciate that, Totoro. I am going to give it a shot at trying to figure out Blender.
Sure thing. It's always fun. I mean, there's plenty of tutorials, and I don't think you're dumb, so don't worry about that.
And to each their own. I am going to try to figure it out, though. Just because I do know there's, even at the basic level, I can enjoy Blender. I can use it and do certain things like what you were doing. I understand is one of the simplest things you're doing on Blender. So it is capable. I just have to, sit down and actually fucking do it and figure it out. And I'm capable of it.
It's a tool that scales all the way up to professional movie production. So yeah, it is fairly capable.
Yeah. And yeah, like I said, and I enjoy editing and stuff. So the video editing is the real reason I even know what Blender is. And even then I could see how wonderful Blender can be. So I definitely want to learn that. And I'll start watching a bunch of tutorials so I can figure that stuff out. As everyone should, especially if you do have some type of idea in your head that you can't visually show people. Because I think that's one of the biggest issues with the conversations that we do have. It's just conversation without visual aid, which is another reason I fucking really enjoy that you come on, Totoro, because you do give us that visual aid when you're talking about the stuff. Because a lot of the times, people talk about things, and if you can't grasp the concept of what's being talked about, then it's almost pointless to even be listening. But visuals make it easier. I was hoping Travis would come on. He didn't. I'm going to text him, see if we can do something one-on-one about all that. I know you guys don't really enjoy the Travis jumps on panel and does things, so I'm going to see if I can do a one-on-one with him about it. There was something else I wanted to say, and I can't freaking remember. So I'm not going to sit here quietly until I do. I'm just going to go ahead and end this one. I'm tired. Thank you guys for being here. Everyone in the chat, Real, Nerd, Robert, all you guys. I'm just kind of scrolling through. I will be streaming tomorrow for sure. It will be for sure. The first half hour will definitely just be me just ranting about something that is, how do I say this? Extremely irritating. I would say almost to the point of me not even streaming anymore. That's not the case. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that's the level of frustration that this topic will put out, that I will talk about tomorrow. I'm not going to say anything about it now because it's going to make a lot of people say, what the fuck? So it's going to be a good one tomorrow. Hopefully you guys are able to come for that. I will probably make the stream for that later on, so you'll see that. Hit the notification so that it tells you when I'm actually going to go live. And other than that, guys, I'm done ranting. My brain hurts. I'm tired. Peace.
If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong. And that simple statement is the key to science. It doesn't make a difference how beautiful your guess is. It doesn't make a difference how smart you are, who made the guess, or what his name is. If it disagrees with experiment, it's wrong.
Yeah, look, they said that I couldn't do it, so I went and did it. W's only, I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, I've been on a mission. mission. Go. Okay, let's get it. Got a little time on my hands like a wristwatch. I don't got time for the brakes and the pit stop. Race through the gridlock, take it like Chris Rock. Break to the chin, still win. Heavy metals like Slipknot. Got the driving, I got tunnel vision. I just hit my stride the way I run the business. I've been making paper like I'm Dunder Mifflin. See the end game, I got one division. Look, I don't ever bother with a critic. Hit him with a chronicle of Riddick. Boom, bottle full of Ritalin. I hit him with a little bit of riddle me this, riddle me that. My bad, fell asleep at the gas. No time to wait though. Elon Musk, I'm trying to bankroll. New Tesla just cause I say so. Electric whip like Ivan Van Gogh. I just did it. W's only, you know I've been winning. Top of the world, the globe is spinning. If you know, you know I've been on a mission. Okay, let's get it.
I've been on a mission like totally spice. I'm bad she bad, but she totally nice. He was a blue and a toast with like white. They company med jar att det så för mig läge. He knew it for sure, but he left with a why.